Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to make the cover and the journal for the folio that we've been putting together. I do apologize that it has taken me so long to finish this. I have had so much going on with spring break, and then my youngest and only one left in the house has prom and work, and it's just been one roller coaster after another, and doesn't look like it's going to settle down anytime soon, so we're working it. Oh, that's not going to be big enough. Maybe if I do it, yeah, we'll do it that way. So what I have here is just some Amazon packaging, and what I use sometimes, not all the time, but a lot of the time on my journals is some Amazon packaging as the squishy part of my journals underneath the fabric. So I am just gonna do that, and I'm gonna make a little snip right here so I can kind of sort of see what I'm doing. And then we'll glue this down and trim off any excess. Save that. So I have a piece of fabric here that I found. I'm super excited about it. I found it at Walmart, and I was just really excited about the whole orange, teal, coral kind of feel of it. It just really seemed to look like it would go really well with what we're doing. So whoop, I gotta flip that over anyway. So what I have here is just a file folder that I have cut down to have a 1.5 inch spine, which is really convenient because the way that these file folders are made, they already have like a 3/4 inch spine. So all I do is go on the other side and measure out another 3/4, and then I have a 1.5 inch spine, which is perfect for 3 signatures. Is that? No, it goes this way. So I'm just gonna match that up, lay that down, try not to squish any of my bubbles. And then I take a little piece of what I've cut off and I put it in just to reinforce the spine a little bit. But then once I get that taped on, I just cut off this excess and try not to cut the file folder. Come on, little fella. Which I am not doing a very good job at right now. I'm not sure why. Who knows? It's just been one of those weeks, my friends. I've had work and helping my husband at our martial arts school, and then my youngest is actually at, well, he's left by now, I hope, but he was at Men's Warehouse getting his suit, his tux, like, fitted. So he is golden. Okay, so we have a covered journal cover. And then I'm going to take the fabric, and I use Fabri-Tac, of course, for everything, which you guys know that. But I'm really careful about gluing the fabric to the piece, just because it can get like, you can see the glue in spots. So what I kind of do is I just do like a real wide, kind of like this, and then I just kind of take my finger and go over it just so it's a little tacky, so the fabric will kind of sort of stay in place a little better than if I didn't have that. And then I just center it where I want it, and then I'm going to cut the corners, and I cut the corners to where there's just a teeny tiny bit above the corner still. I don't cut it right to the corner, but I cut all 4 of them like that. And this is just to help it fold over a little better. And I could cut off that white, but I'm just gonna fold it over anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. All right, so now we're just gonna fold over these edges like this. So this time I don't really care if the glue shows, because I'm gonna put something in here that will cover a lot of that, because I'll have like a piece of cardstock or something that'll go over this area, which it'll actually, I think it'll probably just be the scrapbook paper itself, because I might have, actually I might have a coral color that could work really well, which I've got a lot of blues going on, so that would balance that out. I think that's what we'll do. I'll just have to get up and get it. So I just lay some glue down and fold it up and hold it for just a few seconds. Sometimes you have to clamp it. Other glues, I know you have to clamp it. I sometimes don't get very lucky and have to. It just depends on probably the weather, something in the humidity. And you can see I've got a little extra fabric right here. And we'll clip all that off. We're not going to worry about that. We're just going to keep on trucking. This is the messy part. I always get so much stuff stuck to me whenever I'm doing this. But that is the fun in crafting, am I right? We get messy. So I'll pull this over. The main important thing is to make sure that you get your corners overlapped so that you don't see the manila folder. If you do, it's not a big deal. It can easily be fixed. But I like doing it this way the first time so I don't have to go back and do that. And we're going to sew this too. So just one more side here. If I can keep my glue on the cover and not down below. All right. Let's make sure my corner's good. All right, I'm very happy with this fabric. And I did cut a smaller piece to do the spine just because I thought it would be kind of pretty. It's a sparkly teal color, but isn't that pretty? I think it's gonna go really well with the colors that we've chosen. So I'm just gonna come in here and I'm gonna clip where I have excess fabric down just a little bit, being careful not to clip too much off because I don't want that manila showing through, but I don't want it all bulky either. So just a wee bit, if wee is a measurement, which in my house it's definitely a measurement. Okay, so my thought, and I may change my mind, but my thought was to take this pretty blue sparkly fabric and do the spine with it. And I think I like it. If I fold it, I think, yeah, I like that. Okay, so, and we'll probably do a piece of trim or something glued right there just so it looks even. So I'm gonna hold that down there. I'm not gonna glue it. I'm just gonna fold that over and fold this over and try to make sure I'm as even as possible on both sides of the spine. And then I'm just going to put the glue directly on the fabric. And I'm going to fold it over tight. This one you can really see the glue through. Don't know why, but you can. And then I'm going to do the same thing up here where I put the glue directly on the fabric. And then pull it tight down. And there we go. All right, so there's that. And now I have glitter and glue all over me. But that's okay. It's what we do. Am I right or am I right? So essentially, this is our cover, which it's going to look absolutely great. I'm gonna do a little bitty thin line of glue just here, nothing heavy, just enough to kind of make it a little tacky, so that'll lay down a little better. But like I said, we'll probably glue some trim down there. And then on this side as well, just one thin line. And that ought to hold that in place for us. I got it a little outside the lines, but that's okay. I didn't do enough glue for it to hurt anything. So yeah, I like that. Okay. And that goes down. Okay. So now I've already kind of put the pieces together for the signatures. I have them all right here ready to go. I've already sewed some lace and different trims on it. Right now I'm going to grab those coral colored sheets I was mentioning, if I can find them. I've got those, the Tim Holtz, not the wallpapers. No, these are not going to work, I don't think. But the cardstock, and maybe this yellow brown will work. Let me grab it real quick. I just got to make sure I got 3 sheets, which of course it's all the way on the other side of my craft room. Oh yeah, this is gonna do. It's like a craft color, but it goes. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna line the inside of this. And the easiest way I think to do this is to line one up exactly where you want it, which in all honesty, I don't have to cut this. Never mind. Usually if I have to cut it, I'll measure one and then I cut them all the same so it's even top and bottom. But we're not going to have to do that. We are just going to be able to glue this down. However, I am going to cut off a little off the edge so that I have more, so it doesn't overlap on the spine. So I'm going to take 2 of them, and I'm going to take about a 1/2 inch. So these measure 6 inches. So I'm going to take it down to 5 1/2, and I'm just cutting them both at the same time. Let's set that over there. And then the centerpiece, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of line up how much I want. I don't want a whole bunch. So probably about, let's see what this is. It's about 3 1/4, a little more, barely. I forgot to tell you, the measurements of the journal cover are a little over 9, almost 9 1/4, but not quite, by 6. And that way everything fits in there just great. So now I'm gonna set these in here. Oh yeah, we're good. And I'm gonna go ahead and glue them down. Put that over there, okay. So I'm just using my Fabri-Tac to get this nice and glued up. And then I'm careful to set it down on the edge as far over as I wanted it to go. And you gotta make sure that it's even. Give it a good press. And then I'm gonna glue this one down. And okay. All right, set that there. And I try to line it up as much as I can with the bottom. That way it looks cohesive across the board, because that middle piece is going to come in. And you want it to lay down and be even, so it looks like one fluid piece. Why is that longer? Or is it just in my head? No, it is a tiny bit longer, I think. Let me erase that little pencil mark and try that one more time. But I really think, yeah, it is. It is just a hair longer. How strange. So I'm just going to barely cut off just a hair's length off the bottom. Ah, now we're even. Beautiful. So now I'm going to line this up where I can see the spine. Try to make sure I've got it as centered as I can. And I'm going to make a couple of marks where the gusset is. I make one on each side of the gusset for the spine. And then I'm going to grab my little scoreboard here. And I'm actually going to score 2 lines. I'm going to score on the one side of the score line and the other side of the score line. And I'm going to do that on both of those spots that we marked. If I can get this one to line up. Oh, no, that's not quite right. Move over just a little bit. Well, it's just not wanting to cooperate at all now, is it? Is that even? Yes. Okay, so there's 1, and there's 2. And if I ever feel like I'm not quite right, I'll make a 3rd line, which is what I'm going to do in this case because it doesn't hurt anything, and it just gives it a little more give. And then I'm going to erase my little marks. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I know I'm doing 3 signatures, so I've got to get my holes poked in here. So I'm going to give this a little bend at the gussets, try to get all of them manipulated a little bit. And then we're going to make a template so I can try to be even down the board. And I'm just going to get a little scrap piece of paper here. And then I'm going to line this up with my gussets so that I stay even all the way down. So I'm going to make a mark here and a mark here. And then I'm going to put a dot in the center, and then a dot in the center of those 2, and a dot in the center of those 2. And then I'm going to come up and make sure I stay with those gusset lines, and I'm just going to make the marks directly on the cardstock. And these are where my signatures are going to start. I don't go all the way to the top. I usually come down a bit. That's just from trial and error and different size papers. You are more than welcome to put these wherever you want, but I try to do some in the middle, towards the top, and towards the bottom. And I only do 3 holes per signature. I don't do more than that. I haven't really gotten to a point where I'm having a lot of fun with spines. So once I have my dots, I'm going to grab my pokey tool, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to poke those holes. And I like to get them a little wide, so I let the awl go through it quite a bit because it just makes it easier when you hand stitch it in. Okay, so now I've got holes where the dots used to be. All right, I gotta take this sweater off because I'm getting hot. Okay, so now I'm gonna set this to the side, and I'm gonna grab my first signature, which consists of coffee dyed paper. I've got stitching of lace and different fabrics on it. I've got graph papers, ledger paper, an envelope, some paper from Topology, some advertisements, book pages, just some different things. So the way that I usually build a signature is I take one of my coffee dyed papers and I just start filling it in. And I try to keep them towards the middle, but you know, that doesn't always work out. I try to watch my colors so that I'm not doing too much of one. Too much of the same thing here. And then I'm gonna put in another piece of coffee dyed. And then I'm gonna do this one, and then the envelope, and the writing paper, this homemade paper, and this ledger paper, and then I'm going to end it with another piece of coffee dyed paper, just like this. So this signature is ready to go. I'm going to set it to the side, and we're going to put together this one. But I kind of use my coffee dyed as a, to break up the different things. They're kind of place keepers. So, and then I've got a doily I cut down so it would fit. And some homemade paper, then book page, notebook page, coffee dyed paper again. And then we're gonna do this little writing paper, graph paper, this sheet from a magazine. It looks like it's got recipes on it. And then the last coffee dyed paper, there's the second signature. And then the third. And now these signatures honestly don't have as much paper as my signatures usually do. Usually I stuff them a little bit fuller, but I've noticed I'm maybe making them too thick. I don't know. You guys who have purchased journals from me are gonna just have to let me know, because I don't know if I'm doing it right or what I'm doing with my life. I'm doing something, I think. But I don't know if they're more difficult to write in because I've got too much going on, or if I need to just let it go. They're fine. So I'll do that. And then my little paper baggie here. And then my last coffee dyed paper. So our 3 signatures are ready to go. Now the easiest way to do this, I know I'm still picking this fabric and glue off of my fingers because it's driving me batty. I hate it. Okay, so I've got to find my needle. I use a big needle and jute. Typically a big needle and jute. So I'm going to take my spine and I'm going to measure out where my holes are going to go. So make sure that's all down. Everything's face up. And then I just line it up with the top and the bottom. And I'm going to make a little pencil mark where those little holes are. And then I'm going to open it up. And you can clip it to keep it in place if you do better that way. For me, I just poke a hole in it. I don't need it. I mean, if I don't get it perfect, I just readjust and re-poke. I mean, it's a junk journal. It's not supposed to be perfect, people. So there's my holes are in place. Now I'm going to get some jute. And it's measured out at about 2.5 times the length of the journal. I usually go a little longer and then just cut it off. It's probably pretty wasteful that way, but I'm always afraid I'm not going to have enough for some reason. I don't know. So I thread my needle and then I go in through the middle hole, and then I grab my spine and I go through the middle hole. And I pull it quite a bit through to where there's only about this much left. And then I go through the top and then the top hole of the signature. Pull it tight, and then I go through the bottom hole of the signature. Sometimes you gotta wiggle. Sometimes it gets out of alignment when you're playing with it. And then through the bottom hole of the spine. And then I go back through the middle. All right, so tighten it up, check the back, make sure it's good. And then I want one of these strings on one side and one of these strings on the other side of this long one. So I've got one on each side, and I'm just gonna do a double knot. 1 and 2. And then I cut it down, and my first signature is in. Okay, second signature. So I'm gonna line it up, top and bottom. Make my pencil marks. 1, 2, and 3. And then open it to the middle. And poke my holes. All right, I'm gonna grab some more jute and rethread my needle. Okay, and then I'm gonna go through the center. Always check too to make sure that you're still right side up. I have a habit of flipping this sucker around a few times when I'm doing different things with it, and I have sewn signatures in upside down. It's not a big deal. You just cut the string and redo it, but it's just time consuming when you don't do it right the first time. And I'm cattywampus here. There we go. Then I'll grab my spine and go through the center of it and pull through till I've got just a little bit left in there. And then I'm going to go through the top and then the top hole of my signature. And then I'm going to go through the bottom hole of this signature, if I can find it. There we go. And then the bottom hole of the spine. And then right back through the middle. Maybe. Come on, little fella. Why are you not working for me? Oh, it's because I'm not anywhere near you. There we go. This is the worst part. Whenever you can't figure out why the needle isn't going through and you got to separate all the pages, and it can be a pain at times. Okay, so I've tightened that up. I get one of these on each side of this string here. Make sure I'm not cattywampus, which I was. Come on, get straight. Did I put it in the wrong? Oh! Okay, so classic move. I put it in the wrong hole, like I was saying. So I'm gonna come in. Oh gosh, that's all the way at the beginning. And I'm gonna pull this out. Pull this out. And pull this out. I was like, why is it so crooked? I have no idea why it would be so crooked. Well, now I know. And I'm gonna try that again with the middle top hole, since it's the middle signature. And right back through the top. And then through the bottom and into the bottom middle hole. And then through the middle again. If I can get this to work for me. There we go. All right, so one string on each side. And I'm up right side up, right? Okay. Whew. I don't think I have to do that again. That would suck. And then I just tie my jute. And be careful how taut you tie it. I try to go pretty taut, but yes, I have broken the jute before. So there's our third signature. And then here is our last. So I'm gonna line it up. And I'm gonna make my pencil marks. There we go. Open it up to the middle. And poke my holes. See, I just went upside down with it. All right, we are back to right side up. And then I will get a little bit more jute. And let's see. going to go straight into the center, and then into the center one on that last one on the spine, and then in that top hole and the top hole of the signature. Don't you do that to me. And then in the bottom hole of the signature. There we go. And into the bottom hole of the spine. And then I'm gonna go right back up through the middle. Maybe. Come on, where are you at? I can't see what I'm doing. There's that one, and all right, there it is. Okay, so one on each side. Make sure it's tight. And then we're gonna tie it. I almost put that in a bow. Where is my brain? I wouldn't recommend that. All right, so our signatures are in. Now, the next step, we would just glue these straight into our book. However, I want to sew around the edges of our spine. So I'm just gonna move some things, or sew around the edges of the journal cover. So I'm gonna grab my sewing machine real quick. And I have got it on a little zigzag pattern here. I'm sorry, this is probably not the easiest way to see it. However, I've learned when doing the splicing of the videos that it takes up a lot of memory, and I keep having to delete stuff, and it's just been nuts. So we're just gonna try it like this. And I'm gonna go all the way around the journal cover. Stuck. There they are. I don't know where I set my scissors. Okay, and now I'm gonna go down right through here, just so I know this is good and stuck down. If I can get my thread to cooperate, I will anyway. So I'm just gonna start right where the stitching starts at the top. That off, and then do just the other side. All right, now that is done. Right, so we have our journal cover. I may not do any trim. That actually looks kind of cool. Okay, so now we are going to make sure that if we have a right side up, it is in that direction. Move our thread out of the way, and we are going to get this baby into place. So what I do is I separate it at the middle signature, And then I get some double-sided tape. You don't have to use double-sided tape, or you could just use double-sided tape. I do this and glue just because I like that second adhesive reinforcement, because this is the spine of the journal, which is going to be manipulated a lot with opening and folding pages over and things like that. So I like to make sure it's really secure. So I just take this is a 1/4 inch, I think, double-sided tape. And honestly, I think I got this in like a bulk thing from Amazon. It came with a bunch of different sizes, widths. Love it. My favorite, of course, is the 1/8. Okay, so give that a good press down. And then I'm just going to peel them off with a little, I don't know what this is. I got it at the Dollar Tree. It's a little pokey thing that allows me to get underneath the double-sided tape and not peel the tape off. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure that I am right side up. Okay, and then I'm going to glue through here. I'm just covering it in between the strings, all around, and then on the edge here of the spine that flaps over. All right, so now is the tricky part, because you have to be able to get the two parts you gusseted where the gussets are on the spine. So I try to line it up as much as I can with my eyeballs and set it down, and then fold it and make sure I am in the right spots, which I am. And then I give it a smush. I make sure I'm all lined up. All right, and then I'm gonna let this guy sit for a little bit. Just push that down in there. Push it down here. And I'm gonna let this sit. So that is the journal, my friends. And then what we're gonna do next time is we're gonna put the whole thing together after making the folio journal cover, which I got some pretty cool fabric for. Pretty excited about it. So thanks for checking out what I was doing today. I really appreciate it. I am going to spend some time getting this glue off of my fingers. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of their day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.